Hi guys, Omar here with another one. Today we're going to be going through the Pixel 3 camera, looking at what you can and can't do on the new Android Pie operating system, which obviously is on the Pixel 3. So let's have a look. Before I forget, subscribe and also hit the bell icon to be notified of any new videos that I post. So basically what we're going to do is go through the modes, the settings, and generally just see how easy it is to use the camera. Okay guys, so first of all, let's just start off with the modes. So as you can see on the bottom, the modes are all in like a carousel sort of layout where you just scroll through and hit the next mode. So on the left, you've got panorama, which essentially is just stitching the photos together. You just have to, if I just show you like in that sort of style, you just have to move the camera and then that comes up. The portrait is one of the most interesting ones. I took a picture earlier just to show you. Now this is obviously, whenever you take a picture on portrait, it takes two photos. It takes one which is with the focus as like a near focus, and the other one which is far focus. So as you can see, if you look at this light there, you can see that it's blurred on one and not on the other, and that's quite an interesting sort of way to go about it. I personally think that the photos are really good for Google, and I think this is probably going to score quite highly on the DxOMark rating. But when you go in, there's no way to flip the photo, because sometimes maybe you might want to have the photo flipped, and there's no way that you can go into the settings or anything like that and flip the photo. I know with the Samsung ones you can, but unfortunately you can't with this, which is a bit of a down. I don't know whether you can actually download any lenses which may be able to sort of do that, but generally these are things like, you know, you take a picture and then it'll find out what the product is, things like that. So that's portrait. The camera one is pretty simple. Obviously you've got some settings on the top, the timer on, off, and then 3 and 10 seconds. You've got the motion off, which essentially makes a little video before you take a photo. Obviously you can have it on or off or auto, which means that whenever you take a picture, it then shows the video. Well, it will record the video automatically. And then you've got temperatures, which are pretty standard, and then you've got flash on and off and auto up the top there as well. When you do take a photo though, for example, if I was to do that here, and you go through, it gives you options to go back by pressing the camera icon there. You can go and have a look at your gallery through there as well. I haven't got my Google account hooked up there. And then you've got more options on the right here. So slideshow, use as the wallpaper, print, things like that. Edit in Markup essentially is like a photo editing sort of thing. So you can write on it. You can't really do that much, if I'm quite honest. You can highlight, you can write, you can undo, and you can redo, and that's pretty much it. So if you want to annotate photos, or maybe you've taken a picture of your work or whatever you annotate, you can do that as well through that Markup app. Now obviously you've got the share on the bottom, and then you've got the filters and settings for stuff like contrast, light, color here as well. You've got quite a lot of filters, and again there's no filter to sort of flip the photo or anything, and you can't flip the photo through here. Pop is essentially just makes the contrast a bit higher than what your original photo is. Obviously you've got the rotations and how you can sort of skew the photo that you have. You've got here an option to change the aspect ratio. So for example, this is the original. You can get square for Instagram, 16:9:43. Just to flip to landscape, essentially is changes the orientation of the photo. Changes the orientation of the aspect ratio to landscape, so that's fine there. And then when you go back, essentially this is just another option here to edit in Markup, which is the same thing as before. So let's just go back and try the next one. So this is video. Now video is essentially pretty much the same thing. You got temperatures up there, flash up there as well, and you've got the frames per second, so you can do auto or you can standard 30 there, and you've got the magnifying icon which obviously zooms in and zooms out before you take the video. So going over to more, there will be Photosphere, which is essentially like panorama mode, only you can do it in multiple directions, up and down. You've got all these little sort of presets where you can go left to right, up and down. Going back, and you've got slow motion here on the side. You've got an option to go 240 frames per second or 120. Obviously you've got temperature up there, and you've got flash. That's pretty much it there. Lenses is essentially different sort of lenses that you can download, and when you take a photo it will sort of scan a QR code, or it will, for example, that one was like a shopper where it shows the products that you're looking at and how much they could be, and it is quite useful if you use that kind of thing. Going into settings, so you've got an option to change the save location, so you can have it not geo sort of tag your location in the photos. The camera sounds obviously self-explanatory there. Google Lens suggestions, you don't have to have this on, obviously you can turn it off. Gestures, you've only got the volume key action, which is obviously the shutter, and the double tap action, which is the zoom. So when you press the volume key, that takes a photo, and you can double tap and zoom into a photo or scene or whatever you're taking there. Grid type, so you can pretty standard here. You can have it off, 3:3, 4:4 golden ratio. Golden ratio is essentially when you have the little sort of square there instead of having even squares, just to help you sort of frame a picture. And if you go back into it, advanced, essentially this is something that I quite often see on the Samsung phones, is when it tells you that the lens is dirty to clean it. I don't know how exactly it does it. I think it's just software. So it just tells you that if you wipe the screen, your photo or video or whatever could be better quality. HDR plus control, essentially if you turn this off, HDR is on all the time. So for example, I always have it off. If you turn it on, you get to choose when to have HDR on. So you get if I just show you, so HDR there, and essentially on, off, or enhanced, so you get that as well. Settings, going back into the advanced settings, obviously you've got an option which I think you should sort of use, is the codec in which the videos are encoded in. Just save space using a different codec. So for example, this one's using the H.265 instead of a H.264. Obviously that will help you to reduce the file sizes, and ultimately if you've got a 64 gigabyte model, you're going to want to do that, because 4K, when you're recording 4K and stuff, it can use a lot of storage if you're going to keep the video on the phone and not transfer it straight away. So in settings, you've got general settings here up top, another section for photo, another section for video, and then help and feedback on the bottom. With the Samsung devices, they're grouped together by what camera. So for example, front facing camera has all of its settings in one section, the rear facing in the other, and photo and video are both within each section. So this is a bit different, but it's not anything that you need to get used to. It's just the settings are what they are. So photo, essentially you've got all the megapixels that you can take the photos with, the front facing and the rear facing camera there. Video, the same thing, you can change between 4K, 1080, 720. Same with the front facing camera, and you can turn video stabilization off there. And that was pretty much it. This button here obviously rotates the camera, so if I do that, that's me there. And then you just select the normal gallery, look through the photos, and obviously you can edit and all that kind of good stuff there as well. Okay guys, that was just a quick look at the basics of the Google Pixel 3's camera settings, modes, and how easy it is to use. There'll be more videos in this playlist, so do check out those videos as well. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.